Hey there, Shawna Karrasch here with an Ask Shawna answer to an Ask Shawna question. And this question comes from Ginny. And Ginny says, "Hi Shawna, my horse is an 8-year-old heavyweight Irish cob who's very lovely, very loving, and pleasure to own. He's great on our hacks, but hates arena work. He will tuck his head between his legs and bolt to the gate. I have no control when he does this. It is very unsettling. Even in walk 10 seconds after we've entered the arena, he will turn, tuck his head under as if he's going to buck, and run flat out to the gate, snatching the reins from me. Is there a way I can get him to enjoy his schooling work from the ground and then saddle with clicker training? Thank you." Yes, there certainly is. And this is just, I try to say it all the time. Sometimes I say it so often I forget. Always check for physical causes. Be sure that he doesn't have a sore back, or the saddle's not bothering him, some piece of tack isn't bothering him, he has some old injury that he is still bothering him. So always check him out physically. Be sure there's not a physical cause for this, something going on in him, and make sure he's healthy and well, and that's all good. Once you've ruled that out, and you probably have by this point, once you have ruled that out, then we're ready to kind of address this issue. So what I would do, basically what he's telling us is, I hate to be in the arena. So for some reason, he has an association with the arena that is quite unpleasant. Whether something happened there, maybe he got stung by a bee, maybe he tripped, maybe somebody was cruel to him, maybe he pulled a muscle when he's in there and he remembers that pain. It doesn't really matter. We don't know what, or it's just been going around and around and around till he's been drilled and hates it. So it doesn't really matter what it is. We just want to change first the components that he does not like. Now, everything they do is a choice. It's very clear. He's making a choice saying, I don't want to be here and I know how to get out of this. So he's making that choice. Now, the behavior or whatever started this in the first place is probably long gone by now. We don't know why he does it, but that classic conditioning becomes paired with everything, all kinds of things, good and bad. So now he's just learned going in the arena might lead to the event, which blah, blah, blah. So what we want to do first is get him so he likes the arena. So what I would start doing is taking him into the arena, not with a saddle, not with tack. Take him into the arena. If you can, do it 2 times a day, even if it's just, a half hour apart, 20 minutes apart. Take him or before you hack and after a hack. Take him into the arena, just do a little bit of target training. So you just have him where you're just touch the target, it's easy, lift your legs, it's all good, it's all easy. So he's like, oh, wow, that was kind of fun. I like going in the arena. And after you do this for a little bit, he's going to be dragging you to the arena because he's going to be like, well, let's go do those fun little easy things. So you can be working on things, stationary target, lifting his leg, whatever you want to do. So you can just come up, teach him even silly stuff. It doesn't matter. Really, honestly, to horses, we tend to think riding horses or doing stuff that we consider normal is okay. For them, it doesn't make any difference. Riding around with a person on their back does not make more sense than doing a bow. So whatever you want to teach them to do. Teach them to do something, whatever in the arena. It'll help the relationship with the arena and with you and the whole thing. Okay, so now we go in there and that's going great. He loves the arena. Okay, the next thing I would do is I would take him into the arena with a saddle on. No rider, just the saddle on. So you go in and say, okay, this is great. We're doing the same stuff with the saddle on. Till he's like, okay, that's okay. Next thing I would do is I would find somebody who you trust to be on him. And if we've done our job right, we're not going to encounter this, but we need somebody that's a strong enough rider that if he tucks his head and bolts back to the arena gate, that they're fine in riding that out. They just know where to go and they know what it is and they'll be comfortable with that because it's really important. We doing our jobs right, we're probably not going to see that, but just in case we want to be sure everybody's safe and we have set everybody up for success. So then what I do, I'd put the rider on, but I would not have the rider be anything but a prop at this point. I would just say, go into the arena and say, ignore the rider. We're just going to do that same old stuff we've always been doing. Just do your sessions, work on the things you're working on, say ignore the rider, we're doing our thing. That's great. Feed them up and keep feeding them up in the arena. So all the good, all the really good stuff happens in the arena. When that's going good, then I would say, when he's like, rider, no big deal. The next thing I do is I would have the rider start being the feeding person. So you have them do something, you click, the rider starts feeding. So now we're starting to shift the focus from you on the ground to the rider. So now we're putting more importance back on the rider. In the beginning, he probably thinks when rider's on, I know what this means. It's the whole arena rider. He has this whole association with that combination of things. So we want to break down that kind of automatic response he has, and we want to break it down and build a new, better relationship with arena and rider on his back. So we just want to say ignore him at first. Then pretty soon I'd say, okay, rider, you can feed him. And then we get that kind of worked out where the rider is feeding him from the saddle. And then I would have the rider ask for little things. And it could be that the rider just asks to go forward. You present the target, and the target, and it's a foot in front of him, you know. So it's not like he has to go far. I mean, it's almost like he doesn't even have to move his feet. It's almost like he motions in that direction. Then click and have the rider feed. And then have it where he has to walk a step and have the rider click and feed. And then have 2 steps and the rider click and feed, until pretty soon he's just listening to the rider and going. Keep these very short and highly reinforcing. I want it to be a very high level of reinforcement that comes while he's in the arena and listening to the rider. So keep it really short. Get off, give him his exercise some other way, you know, not in the arena. But get it, and then as that's going quite well, then I would start to fade you out of the picture a little bit, so you'll be there and ready with the target. You know, maybe you remind him in the first place, but then you ask the rider, just ask him to walk kind of maybe past you a little bit. As he does, they click and feed, and then start transitioning from one point to the other. If you see the slightest balk, the slightest feel of it, it means we've gone too far. I want you to go back to your back under threshold, where you have that horse who's completely relaxed and focused and not worried about it. Our trick here is the steps are going to work, but it's just the breaking it down to the steps and not moving too fast. Some of this is going to go much faster sometimes than you think, and some might go slower, but he's going to be the one that tells you how fast or how slow and how comfortable he is. So just watch him for that, pay attention to him, and as he's going good, say that's great. And as you get him going good, you know, so then once you find he's really good with the rider and he's listening and he's not needing your support from the ground, then I would have you start being the person in the saddle, and maybe have the other person just stand with the target just in case. When he's listening, that's good. At this point, I would just be walking a little bit and then leaving. Walking a little bit and then leaving. Doing a lot of feeding while in the food, in the arena. As you leave the arena, the reinforcer is he gets to leave the arena, because by now he has that association. So most of the reinforcement comes while he's in there. And pretty soon, I mean, I had horses that were completely sour about being ridden, completely sour about jumping, completely sour about being grooming, because grooming meant to riding, which meant to, you know, so the whole process. And pretty soon they'd just be nickering when the saddle came out, and they're like, I hope it's for me this time. So you're going to counterbalance that. You're going to take or counter condition it. You're taking something that right now is really sour for him for whatever bad experience he had, and we're going to make it a positive reinforcement for him and break the cycle for him. And pretty soon, since he loves being, you know, he enjoys being ridden out there, he enjoys being ridden on the trail, it sounds like, when you're hacking out, it sounds like the riding isn't the problem, it is the association with the arena and whatever happens. So as you shift that around, and then keep a balance between working in the arena as he's really solid, do a little bit in the arena, go out of the arena, in the arena, out of the arena, and work that out a little bit, and mix it up, sometimes short, sometimes longer, as you get going. And I know you're going to make oodles of progress. So keep me posted with that, Ginny. I'd love to hear about how things are going, and I'll look forward to hearing from you. Okay, so if you or anybody else has questions or comments about Ask Shawna answers or questions, please get a hold of me at AskShawna.com or ShawnaKarrasch.com. And until next time, enjoy getting your horse on target. Bye-bye.